So I'm thinking, how do you do that, what Carl was just talking about? Wouldn't it be great if someone came along and just told you all about that? They will be. See? Just hold on. So, balancing act, building a scalable yet intuitive design system. This is a first on many levels. First of all, it's the first time we're in Paris. We got that already. It's going to be the first time we have 3 speakers on stage at the same time. I'm looking forward to this. They are very confident. I'm confident. It's going to be brilliant. Can't wait. And it's also the first time that we have product engineering and design together on stage talking with design systems. I'm one of those people who think that design system is actually a trinity, a beautiful trinity of design, product, and engineering. If you want to run a design system that works really well, you need all of those 3 entities to work together. So, without further ado, let's see the proof of that by welcoming all 3 speakers onto the stage. Applause, applause. Let me get you some microphones. There you go. There you go. Okay, so. And then one for you. Everyone's mic'd up. Let's go.
Hello everyone, we're thrilled to be here in the first DSL Paris to welcome a newcomer in the family of design systems that we call Lumen. Lumen is Ledger's design system whose creation started around 1 year ago. And we've just entered an alpha phase, which means that we have the first prod-ready components that are about to ship. As you might imagine, in this whole year, we've learned a lot. We failed, we faced challenges, but also learnings. And what we would like to propose to you tonight is a topic around the tension between scalability and the user experience of the design system, meaning how can you make a design system that is really easy to use for its primary users, who are the designers and the developers using it every day, but at the same time, keeping this while you are growing to a lot more components, to growing complexity. And so we started to feel this tension and we wanted to focus our presentation around this. But first, presentations. Abla?
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Abla. I'm a software engineer at Ledger. I've been at the company for almost 4 years now, and I've joined the design system journey 6 months ago. Super excited to be here and super excited to share a bit about our journey so far.
Hello everyone, I'm Laurine. I'm senior product designer and joined Ledger 1 year ago to kickstart the initiative. And I'm very happy to be here to share with you our journey to bringing dev, design and product together.
And I'm Benoît. I've been at Ledger for more than 4 years, building hardware as a product. And I joined the design system team at the beginning of this year, 2025. Okay, let's get started. So why should we invest in a design system? This question might ring a bell for some of you, because we know that many design systems start internally by driven developers, driven designers who realize the value, but then they have to go on and convince the whole organization about why we should do one, proving it with metrics and so on. But that wasn't the case at Ledger, because we are lucky that we have quite a long-standing design culture that made our managers, product organization, and even XCOM members already pretty sensitive to this topic. So the question was not why should you invest, but why haven't you started already? There was this eagerness to get started as soon as we could. And so this is around 1 year ago when Laurine joined us, first on the team, and this was quite long before a dedicated engineering team was built for the project.
So yes, as Benoît said, I joined Ledger 1 year ago to build a design system that will serve our 8 designers, 150 engineers, something like 100 projects. So when I arrived, I took the time to deep dive inside all the legacy library and keep in mind all the team has its own library at this time. And my goal was really to understand all the structure of this library and also all the library, how they work all together and also all the pain points we have. After that, I also took the time to interview each product designer to understand how they work with this library and also how they work with all the design team inside the design team. And And after that, that quickly becomes clear that the communication between dev and dev was limited. Sorry. And that's why I spend a lot of time to analyze workflows, identifying gaps where we can improve, make improvement to improve the collaboration between teams. And after a few weeks of deep diving inside all of that, I started to create a strategy for our new system, covering Figma library strategy, but also design tokens and component, but for the moment without any tech constraint, because at this time, design system team didn't have a dedicated engineer yet. But we knew from the start we need to support several themes, light and dark mode, but obviously, but also a few ledger products with their own identity and also with their own complexity. Because we have to cover in the same design system an e-commerce website, an academy, a B2C product, mobile and desktop, but also B2B tools. And on top of this complexity, we have also to cover and the challenge to have web and native experience is the same design system. But the first batch of design token and component were already anticipated this complexity, but were design-centric at this step. And that's why when Abla arrived in the team with a more how to say that, a more technical approach. We are facing some issue. I show some issue I didn't anticipate it yet, and also the possibilities or risk of low developer adoption if we keep the vision exactly like that. So that's when we start a new phase, bringing dev, design, and product together to align on our constraints. So I let Abla explain you why and how we decide to focus on the developer adoption as the next step.
Yeah, indeed. Thank you so much, Laurine. So this was our next challenge. So given the complexity of products at Ledger and the complexity of Ledger as a company overall, teams were mostly working in parallel. So there was not a lot of communication between teams, not a lot of collaborations. And that was actually a challenge for us because what we wanted is another system, another model, another dynamic, basically, with Lumen at the center and the teams collaborating all together. So Lumen would be this shared layer that will help the teams collaborate and work more closely. And we knew that we could never get there if we don't have the developers came and joining us. So we needed to gain their trust. We needed Lumen to be something that the teams would need, something not obstructive. We needed them to want to use it, not because they were taught so, but because they need to, because it's helpful. And it will make them deliver fast, and it would not be definitely not obstructive or blocking anything that they couldn't do. And that was not even it, because today at Ledger and in the ecosystem overall, we have really high engineering standards when it comes to quality, scalability, everything. So we do have a lot of tools out there, and it's really hard today to give a system to the developers and convince them to use it with all the tools they have out there. So not only that, also at Ledger we have a lot of teams using different tools, having different setups. So we needed to build something that would fit into different setups and work for a lot of developers with a lot of expertise in front end. So that's when we started like this architectural phase in which we tried to take the time, do some surveys, see what would fit most of the teams and what would work for most of them. And it took us time. It took a lot of research, and at the end of the day, we did make a lot of technical decisions. We're not going to go over them all today, and especially it goes with our need and what our teams uses. So that's not the objective today. The objective is to tell you like these decision has an impact. And one of these decisions we have took is to use Tailwind as our starting strategy. For those who doesn't know, Tailwind is like this utility-first CSS framework that actually helps you style your components pretty easily. And at its core, like behind, it's just CSS. So and that has an immediate impact on all the work that Laurine has been doing. The tokens that she built over 6 months were great, but were more design-centric. So they did not really speak to me as a developer. You can see that on the left side. And I'm a Tailwind user for a while, so I know this will not be converted easily because it doesn't really match taxonomy of Tailwind or anything. So we did need to refine them a lot. So we did do some sessions together, tech, product, and design. We tried to create the shared language between all of us that would make sense to everybody without compromising the designer experience, because that was really crucial as well. So you can see here pretty simple examples. We try to use more meaningful keywords, simpler keywords that would speak for everybody. So our semantic tokens today really have meaning. While seeing this, you might think this is a simple task. You might think, wow, that's easy, but trust me, it was not. It was like parents trying to name their baby, but it has like 100 siblings and a lot of color palettes. And yeah, it was a tough task, but we succeeded. And I think it's pretty satisfying because you can see in the next slide, how easy it is for developers today to use these tokens. You have here, like what they see in Figma and the mapping directly. It's exactly the same thing you're going to see. So we were pretty proud of this. I think we established very great developer experience and designer experience, and we had like primarily good feedbacks. And you can see here, you have all the our tokens, like a semantic tokens. We don't expose any primitives or like that. So easy for developers to go from Figma to code. And that was the main objective. So that was the big dilemma. And I think we nailed this one. We're pretty happy with the result. It was pretty good. But that was not all, because how can we guarantee that this link stays in time? How can we guarantee that what you see in Figma is exactly what you see in the code? And that's when we privilege something called Figma REST API. I think some of you already know this. So this is the tool we use to fetch everything that Laurine has been doing in Figma on her foundation library, the design tokens, the symbols, the icons. And we fetch that, so whenever she actually makes a change in the foundation library, we capture that immediately in the code. So we're pretty sure we are in sync. And we never, over time, it's never going to lose this connection. So this was really important for us. And we knew with that, we built a system that is scalable. It is robust, it is capable, and it's able to grow over time. That was important because a design system is built to be grown. At first, it was really important for us to make something that is able to grow, something scalable, but at the same time, easy to use. So that's basically the whole thing that we're trying to say today. And this is how we actually managed to do that. And we're not here to tell you this is how you should do it. This is only our vision of it and what we succeeded to do so far. So this actually, communication between Figma and code, having one source of truth, was really crucial because it had also impact on our next steps. And one of them is actually documentation and how we decided to document our design system. And I will let Benoît tell you more about that.
Yes, thank you, Abla. Indeed, documentation is key when trying to bridge developers, designers, product, but also external users of the design system, because ultimately we would like to open our design system also to the exterior and open contributions. So when it came to documentation, we surveyed some, design documentation tools. We knew that developers were going to use Storybook anyway. And so after some study, what we decided to do is to gather all documentations, including for designers, including for products and everybody needing that into Storybook. We think it was the good decision because it's really centralized, it's reactive, it's automatically updated, we have interactive playgrounds, so it has many advantages. It can mean a small learning curve for designers because it's not a tool that they might be used to at first, but thanks to stories and customizability, customizing Storybook to make it like an easy homepage to review and agreeable components is actually pretty easy. So that's what we did, and we have a centralized documentation. We are quite a small team, as was said at the beginning, trying to address a large number of engineers and people at Ledger. So when it comes to frugality and optimization choices, we think this really helped. So you can see on the right, address field input. It's a quick example of stuff that we can put in place. So this is a component documentation. When you click on it, you land directly on an overview, which is very easy for anyone to understand, non-developers, designers, and everybody. And then if you're a dev and you need some doc, you just tap the tab implementation, and then you will find everything you need code-wise. Speaking of components, let's take a very simple example of a component that we call address input. It's a kind of specialized text input in which you are going to paste a crypto address. So this could be Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana address. It's going to run some formatting. You can tap the QR code icon to scan with your phone's camera and so on. And when we talk about foundations, now we are reaching the component level, and the component level is really where everybody is gathering because everybody doesn't need to deep dive into the foundations below. So for us, it was really important to nail the experience and the ease of use of also components. So starting with designer API, meaning Figma props, for example, we've standardized them, so we have consistent naming that we drew inspiration from several design systems. We have now pretty a stable way of describing APIs. The advantage of that is that anybody wanting to propose a new component can right off the bat have something that's pretty consistent and high quality when it comes to the design props. But there is a challenge because the developer view of the same component, the dev API of the component, might need to change because the practices are different. Because you don't describe for a designer the same thing as you would do for a dev. For example, a drop-down can become a boolean, a placeholder. The states can change and are expressed differently. And so we didn't want to degrade either the designer experience or the developer experience to put everything on the same foot, because we think it's important to preserve these specificities. So the way we dealt with that, with this delta between the descriptions, is by simply using Code Connect. So you can see on the left a bigger example of some of our UI. You can find the address input at the very top, where the user is expected to paste an address here from the clipboard before performing a transaction. And when you inspect this specific field in Figma, you have a code snippet on the right. And what's interesting is that it's completely reactive to the variant that's currently active and to all of the props that are currently being interacted with. So the developer can know confidently that, okay, this component that looks like that and has these props, I will describe it like that in code, and I can just copy-paste the snippet. So that's an overview of how we dealt with harmonization and unification of the systems for everyone. And now I will let Abla talk a little bit about how all of that can scale to growing number of components and growing complexity.
Yeah, thank you, Benoît. After we've seen how we connected the code to Figma, let's dive in a bit into the code. How did we actually code our components? Given that we started with a very small engineering team and we wanted to deliver because people wanted to see the design system, the new components, and everybody is eager to start testing it and using it. So I would say we're pretty lucky. We're pretty lucky today because building components from scratch is not hard anymore, because we have a lot of tools out there. We have open source resources. We have people who've done a lot of research and work to build something that we can use. So I personally believe that reinventing the wheel at every step doesn't really make sense, and that's actually was a game changer for us. So for us, it was headless components and headless library that we kind of leaned on to be able to deliver fast. And headless components, for who doesn't know, are just components that are not opinionated when it comes to styling, so you can style them however you want. They are functional, they are scalable, they have accessibility, they have everything. They're open source, so you can take the code, you can update it, change it however you want, and you can move really, really fast when you rely on these kind of libraries. So we're not gonna actually advertise any of them. We just wanted to tell you, do your research. Don't reinvent the wheel. Don't do everything from scratch, because you can. But why waste time while others have done it and they've posted it and it's open source and you can use it and you can actually bring something to the community. You can open issues. You can help build it even better, make it even more scalable, make it evolve. And that's what we really believe in that. With that being said, it doesn't mean at least for us, use it everywhere. We need to be smart about it. So we do have a couple of components that are pretty specific to our products, to our needs. So we did build them from scratch. For instance, the address field input that Benoît has shown you, like it's something we build ourselves because really specific to our needs, our products. So here I want to emphasize on the fact you need to balance both. You know, like efficiency, delivery, but at the same time, do not lose your brand, do not stay linked to your product. And that's how we actually managed today to deliver our first batch of components with a really small engineering team. So I was alone at some point, then I have someone joining me, and recently I had someone joining the team, which is great. But we really were really smart about it, and we tried to take advantage of what we have out there in the community, basically. And this is how we managed to build our first batch of components using our new shared language.
Okay. I think we... Next slide, yeah.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Abla. So to conclude, all these choices were guided by only one goal: create a new culture of collaboration. Because today, that is the main problem we have at Ledger. Each team has the habit to work alone, and as the company is growing, we are facing inconsistency in our product and in our user journey. So the design and development team and product team is also growing day by day. So we are at a turning point where we need to learn to work differently and more efficiently. And this change begins with Lumen.
Yeah, thank you everybody for listening. Thank you. Please don't hesitate to scan the QR code. You can go directly to our storybook. You can see how Lumen looks like today. You can also follow the journey to see how Lumen will look like in like a year, for instance. We think it will look very, very cool. And yeah, again, thank you so much. That was all for us today.
Thank you very much, guys. You did really well. Well done. Fantastic on many levels, not just topic-wise, but also the fact there were 3 of you. I'm very impressed by that. There's a barcode here to scan, obviously. For those of you who scan this code, this is where you go to... Thank you so much. This is where you go to the questions. I am not checking my messages in the middle of the talk. I do have the questions right here, so apologies. Before we do that, do we have anyone brave enough to ask a question live in the audience? Some nervous smiles, thinking maybe I should do it, should I do it, should I not do it? While you think about that, oh, here we go, 2. Do you see? If you wait long enough, there they come. Let's start with this gentleman over here, and then I'll come to you in a second. What is your question?
First of all, thank you very much for sharing all your journey. Now that your system has been built and that you have something functional, one of the key questions is how you're going to roll out this design system to existing products. Do you have a strategy for that?
Great question. That's a great question. Well done.
Yeah, great question indeed. We do have a strategy for that, and Benoît already said that we are actually building our new feature using the design system like now. So that's why we delivered the first batch of components. It's actually a challenge task. We're not going to ask the teams to, replace all, because we just can't. We're going to be programmatic about it. We're going to, whenever we're building new features, whenever we're revamping new pages, we're going to use a new design system. All new designs on Figma are going to be built using the design system, and that will be step by step. So we're not immediately going to be making drastic change. Hey, everybody change everything. That's not possible. We have a lot of projects, a lot of teams. So we believe over time, because we do have a lot of revamping to do, we want to evolve a lot our user experience, as Carl said earlier. So that's the strategy. We hope like in 3 or 4 years, we'll have the design system everywhere. And that's basically the strategy, yeah.
Great. Do you want to say anything to that? No, in that case, I would steal your mic. Hang on, we got a gentleman at the far back. Oh, you get to listen to me breathe. Terrible. Here you go. What's your question?
Thank you. Thank you very much for your talk. I was curious to know more about the way you build the design token architecture, especially when you mentioned how with the Tailwind integration. Are you like today one align between variables in Figma and your design token in code in terms of taxonomy, or are there like specificities in Figma or maybe somewhere else?
So they are exactly the same. We took Tailwind as a technology. We did not took it to use it out of the box. We really built our own configuration on top of Tailwind. We have our own utilities. So when you saw in the video, when you tap BG, you only have our tokens that appear. You don't have the primitives. You don't have what Tailwind exposes, because Tailwind does have their own foundation library. You know, they use CSS tokens under the hood as well. We did not extend the Tailwind configuration, we overridden it. So we built everything ourselves. We just used the technology, the tool, you know, with our own tokens. So it's exactly the same. Everything you see in Figma, it's exactly the same in the code.
Okay. So did you, and I'm just curious to know if you framed this architecture all together with engineers and designers to make sure that you're aligned, or is it something different?
Yeah, definitely. You know, like at the beginning, as you see the tokens, like Laurine did not really have that constraint to actually use, because if you use Tailwind, you do have to follow their taxonomy, and that's what we did. We changed our tokens to follow more than taxonomy, so we use background. It used to be surface, for instance. Surface doesn't mean anything in Tailwind, but background does, so we use background. We use text for the color of the text. We did follow their naming conventions, and we use our own. So that's how we actually managed to keep using Tailwind. Even if you go in the documentation, you will exactly see it, but it's just like you tap the utility and you have the auto-completion with everything we built for the developers. So they don't have to look for the color for like 200 colors. We have, I think, 20 colors. And also we have colors for backgrounds, colors for text. You know, as Tailwind has one color palette shared everywhere, and we did not want that. So we have our colors for the backgrounds, our color for the text, for the borders, etc.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, we got one more. We'll take one last question. Oh, I'm loving the fact that there's so many. Go for it.
Hi, and thank you for the presentation. About the headless components, I was wondering, is that linked specifically to the Tailwind framework that you're using, or have you seen this outside of the Tailwind context?
So the one we use does use Tailwind, honestly. And you know, like Tailwind is kind of becoming the standard when it comes to styling. Like we just had an intern in our team. In the interview, I realized he doesn't know CSS. He was only writing Tailwind. He did not know border radius. He only know the keyword rounded. And that is really becoming standard. A lot of the headless libraries actually use Tailwind and encourage you to use Tailwind. But you use other styling strategies, and you can find them. But the ones we use are really Tailwind driven indeed. And that was a choice we took because I believe personally that Tailwind is becoming the new standard on how you style your components. It's really easy. We have a lot of back-end engineers at the company that does front-end, and I think it suits best for everybody. It's pretty easy to use, honestly. And it's just CSS. So, yeah.
Great.
I hope that answers your question.
Excellent. Thank you. That's all the questions we have time for this team. So massive applause to the Ledger team. Brilliant. Well done.